So at this point, I think the government is actually following this page. So just the other day, I made a video ranting about the purchasing and selling process of houses here in the UK and called on the government to step in with some standards because I didn't think any of the other parties involved had an interest in actually improving the way things were done. And that's exactly what the government have done. An article was released the other day that talked about some of the government's plans to speed up the service and process of buying and selling houses, and also to reduce the number of failed sales that happen, which are very common here in the UK. And so some of the things that they're proposing are binding contracts, which puts both parties in a contract where they're essentially agreeing to sell and buy the property and so that they can't back out. Now, there isn't a lot of details on this, so we don't know how much this may cost or that type of stuff. But it's an interesting change and something that could reduce the number of failed sales and purchases. And then the second thing they talked about as well, which I think is the most exciting and interesting thing, is they want to put more burden on the seller to provide more information about the property when they are selling the product. Now, obviously, in many cases, when a government initiative is outlined, the headline sounds great, but the detail's missing. And in this case, it kind of is missing. So it doesn't necessarily say what details they would expect the seller to put. But I think a great idea for this would be to put the onus of the home buyer survey on the seller. So that means anybody that wants to come and buy the property can have a look at that home buyer survey and look at the work that needs to be done in the house, know what condition it's in, rather than putting an offer in, getting it accepted, doing a home buyers, and then having to pull out because there's bigger issues than they anticipated. And this could be a really good way of speeding up the process and just reducing the number of people that have to pull out of sales further down the chain. So really, really happy that the government is stepping in and trying to do something about this process, but let's actually see what materializes and what actually changes.